DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Draft heads, what is going on? Welcome back to the Key Pass Collective. We are here after a wonderful, some would say, dismal, others would say, transfer deadline day. I'm Joe Williams. I'll be your host here for this particular episode. It's good to be back. We've been off for maybe a week or so with some of the cup games taking place, and thankfully the Premier League is back. So let's get into it. Let's talk all of the fantasy relevant details from transfer deadline day. First, let me remind you that, of course, the Key Pass Collective is the audio companion to the Draft Society website. What is the Draft Society, you ask? I'm glad you asked that, actually. It's where you're going to go to get all of your stats, your data. Where you're going to go to get all of your waiver wire advice, where you're going to go to get your rankings, your personalized confidential trade advice. You're going to go there to get your fixture difficulty tracker, just literally everything you need to dominate the draft game. And if you're willing to part with a couple of shekels a month, you can be part of the inner circle and get a whole bunch of insider benefits. Check it out, draftsociety.com. We're really proud of it. And yes, there will be a transfer article coming out. If it's not already, ASAP.
It's not.
It's not. Okay. So ASAP. All right. Let's move it right along, boys. We got a lot to get through. So Toddy and Ryan are with us today. Toddy, hello, sir. And give us your biggest winner and biggest loser of the transfer window.
Biggest winner would have to be... I think it has to be Arsenal for me. They got their cheap but very good cover, and their direct rivals for the title got hammer blow. And biggest loser, I mean, I will go into this, but from a like grand scheme of things, I would have to say Chelsea. But
wow.
But from like short-term way, I think I have to say our own club, Joe.
Yep. You literally took both of mine. I was going to say Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yep.
Yeah, we probably won't actually talk much about Liverpool today, which unfortunately is appropriate at this point in time. So, Ryan, biggest winner, biggest loser of the transfer window.
Yeah, I mean, I'll co-sign Arsenal. They got the depth that they needed, but I'll go a little off the beaten path and say I liked what Southampton, Bournemouth, and Wolves did. Southampton got some sneaky good buys, attacking wise, that if they can figure out how to fit them all in to a decent attack, if Jones can get them cooking, then I think they made some good buys. Wolves got a lot of business done. Also got some, I think, decent attacking assets, and also got some young Brazilian midfield help as well. And so in terms of the folks that are at the bottom, I think Southampton and Wolves did themselves a favor, as well as Bournemouth, as I said. I like their buys. They need goals. And they got Mortara, who looks like a baller, as well as Hamid Traore, which looks like a good signing as well. So, and Semenyo. So, I think they did their business. very well. Biggest loser, man, you got to say Everton, who
yeah.
Oh, that's
man,
sold Gordon, which, you know, fair enough. They to get 40 million for him, I think is a good bit of business. But to not bring anybody in to help out Daesh, I think is pretty damning. So maybe it'll turn out well, because Daesh, I think, was a good signing if you want to just stay up. So, but transfer wise, you got to think that, you know, a team that poor the first half of the season needs to buy reinforcements, and they didn't. They just subtracted. So those would be mine.
Yeah, those are all good shouts, guys. Yeah, we're unfortunately not going to focus on the losers too much, even though it would be fun to have some discussion around those. But yeah, Liverpool, my only question for you guys before we move on from them is, Toddy, you mentioned them. It is the fact that they were one of the biggest losers of the transfer window and not bringing in any midfield reinforcements. Does that actually cause you to downgrade their fantasy assets too?
No, not necessarily. Like I've seen Liverpool players get traded a lot in the last couple of weeks in the big leagues that we are all in, and also through the DMs and the personalized trade advice tool that we have on our site, and through the talk on the Discord as well. So I think the value of Liverpool players right now is shifting, and people are either cashing in on their highly drafted assets, or just trying to buy low and hoping that they will kind of resemble some sort of premium asset in the long run. So yeah, I don't think in the short term the lack of midfield option or midfield transfer is a huge game changer for fantasy purposes. I do think that and this is probably like very hopeful stuff, but I do think that that the fact that Enzo went for 120 and to Chelsea does make Bellingham a bit more viable, a bit more expensive as well, but a bit more like one of the main put your dick on the table kind of negotiator is out of the race, surely out of the race.
True.
For Bellingham. So and there has to be some sort of truth to the woes, the constant crying from Real and Barcelona's, meaning that they won't be able to put up 100 and something million for a player. So I think at this point it's either the Premier League or Paris Saint-Germain who are viable options for Jude Bellingham, or obviously Bayern, but that's always the case when there's Dortmund players. So yeah, one of the front runners who could outrun Liverpool easily is out off the track. So that has to be good. But I'm not sure about where the takeover is and stuff like that. So at this point, I'm definitely like not optimistic, but if I want to be a bit more optimistic, then this would be my angle to be more optimistic.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And I've heard that from people who want to be optimistic, is that, hey, we already probably have 2 or 3 things in place for the summer. And a boy can dream. But we will leave Liverpool for the time being, though we will revisit them briefly with one signing that we need to talk about. But other than that, nothing else from that club that we need to discuss today. So let's move on. Let's break down some of these transfers. And what we're going to do is sort of sort them into some comprehensible categories for our listeners. So we've come up with a few categories, actually way more than a few, but some categories that we think these players sort of kind of generally can fit into. And then we can gripe amongst ourselves whether or not they're in the right ones. But basically, we are focusing on their fantasy value, of course, right? Whether or not they're good value for the money, we don't really care right now. We're talking about fantasy value, rest of season, to fantasy managers. So we're going to start with the very good / you could even say the obviously good or the should be good, right? So these are the best of the best players. These are the players who presumably have a spot already there for them. They will come in and they will boss for their new team. In this category, we have Pedro Porro, we have Joao Felix, we have Mikhailo Mudryk, and we have Cody Gakpo. Ryan, let's start with you. Any thoughts on any of these? Are there any we missed, or are there any that shouldn't be here?
Man, it's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, well, first, I love your pronunciation of Porro.
Pedro Porro. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because Porro is like a joint or a blunt in
oh, really?
Spanish. Yeah,
that's awesome. I don't know much slang other than mota.
So it's like Peter Blunt.
Blunt.
Probably it sounds even better, to be honest.
That was my
if he wasn't going to Spurs, then. But he's Portuguese, right?
Is he?
I know he's playing at Sporting, but I just assumed he was Portuguese. But it's a very Spanish name. Anywho.
Yeah. Neither here nor there.
I think it makes a lot of sense for him to be.
He's Spanish.
Up near the top. Okay, that does make a lot more sense than Portuguese. Yeah, I mean, a gifted wingback going into a system in which the only decent players should be wingbacks, but often aren't. With Doherty going to Atletico, which I think is hilarious. Just imagining him in Madrid is funny to me.
Very, very interesting. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to derail this at the very beginning, but
here we go.
The most like intricately funny thing is that he was released, not even
nothing.
Alone, like
because they messed up the numbers.
That whole story is wild. Yeah, they panicked at the last moment because they realized they had already met
loans or something.
Yeah, they already met their loan cap.
So Spursy, I love it. But no, he's good numbers, and Portugal obviously is a nice Portuguese tax, but Conte obviously wanted him. His main competition is Emerson Royale, so suffice it to say he should be nailed. If they can ever get their defense together and pick up some clean sheets, then he should be good. But he should ghost fairly well. So he's one that there's very few question marks, I think, around.
Yeah.
I like Felix just based on what I saw and the points I saw him accumulate in his very brief cameo before getting a red card. So I think he should do well. Mudryk, similar thing. He ghosted out pretty well for his brief cameo against Liverpool, and then Gakpo. I mean, been pretty bad both eye test and scoring wise. I mean, everybody this day and age wants to label somebody a flop, 5 games into their tenure in a new league.
Right.
So I'm definitely not going to say that, but early indications have not been good. Next year might be the year for him to crack on. But he's a tough one. If I rostered him, I think you probably just have to stick it out.
Yeah. Some of us did. Some of us did not. I recently traded him for Jared Bowen.
That's fair.
So you can do with that what you will, but I thought it was actually pretty fair. And it was to our friend Ari, and he's also a Liverpool fan. It's one of those things you want to cheer on the boys, and also it seems like a pretty fair trade. Bowen was sort of shit before his purple patch here, and so it could go either way, that one, honestly. But I wanted to strengthen in midfield, and I had 6 forwards. So, yeah. I mean, I think it depends on your roster, right? What you do with Gakpo at this point. But I know Draft Lad was recommending holding, waiting it out. Toddy, what's your thought on that one?
It definitely has to be hold, waited out. The question you have to ask yourself is that although the eye test doesn't necessarily agree, but do you actually think that Liverpool are going to finish 9th, or I don't know where they are right now, but mid-table, or do you think they're going to have a decent second half of the season? Not stellar, but decent. And if you're of the inclination that it's the second one, then yeah, you should probably give Cody Gakpo some leeway.
Mm-hmm. I want to see him on the left. I'm hoping that Klopp plays him there and then runs Nunez through the middle. But I mean, we've been clamoring for that for weeks now, and it hasn't happened. So I don't know that I have any faith in that. But we'll see. Toddy, what were your thoughts on the other in this top category, the very good, the best of the best?
I think minutes wise, it's definitely Porro and Gakpo. If your squad is aligned that way, if you have some City coverage, if you have some other Chelsea assets, then Porro or Gakpo would be more advisable, I think, to just consolidate minutes on the field. I'm a bit less excited about the Chelsea mids, forwards, whatever you want to call them. I think they are at the bottom end of this tier. I can see why one would be excited, but the turnover has been so huge. They could literally almost put out a team of 11 new players.
I know.
Come next game week. So chances are that some growing pains will happen before these players will realize their potential. And at the end of the day, I think on merit or on sort of talent, I think Joao Felix should be the one we are most excited about. But they have so many players who will definitely be there next season and who will benefit from playing time together, who will benefit from training together, who will benefit from experiencing where each other player is on the field and how they handle the ball when they're passed to whatever, the intricacies of team play. And most likely Joao Felix is not gonna be there. So if in fact we have to buy into the process, which people have been saying about Potter, then surely the process doesn't involve giving substantial time and energy to someone who is not gonna be there to experience the rest of the process. So I feel that I want to get excited about Felix, and there is a reason to be, but I want to temper my expectations, because if I was Potter, I would be like, yeah, he's a good guy to plug in and he's ready made right now, but every time I have half an hour at the end of the session, I'd rather work with Madueke and Mudryk and all the other guys than Joe Felix, who will command another 80-ish million clause. I don't think he has a clause, so it would be a straight up negotiation for his price. And if he does well, then the price will go up. So like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure there is like it makes sense to invest time and energy into him. So
can I
that's why
disagree on that?
Oh yeah, go.
Yeah.
I'm of the contention that, to the contrary, they've spent 17 million pounds on him for 6 months. So you'd think that they would utilize that little time that they have to get their money's worth, and to also convince him of the project, give him playing time to keep him happy, so that if he does do well, then they have a decent chance of trying to recruit him over the summer. And I think there's going to be some pressure from the Todd on Potter to start him as much as he can in the next few months. So I would tend to go the other way on that.
Interesting.
You think that, like, I can see that happening, but I at this
he
point,
started immediately.
Yeah,
like
but
remember,
you remember at that point, Mudryk was still posting Arsenal love images on Instagram, and
well,
at that
before he was kidnapped and co-opted.
And then that point, everyone else in Chelsea was injured.
I sense a wager coming.
Oh no!
Starts rest of season. That's so he's out. This is his last game to sit out, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that would mean there are how many games left?
There are
18 after this.
23 to 38, right?
Yeah. 15.
15. I'd
I
say
think
he
that's
gets.
That is.
I'd say he
that
gets.
sounds
10.
like maths.
I'd say he gets 10 or more starts rest of season.
One sec. So Chelsea have played 20 games, so they have.
Oh, so they have 18?
18 to go.
So he would be 17. All right, I'll do 12.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I'll take that. I doubt he gets 12 starts.
Barring injury.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you the injury.
Give me the clause.
You have to. Yeah, but injury, like.
You gotta specify what type of injury?
No,
hammies. Concussion's fine.
If it's soft tissue, then it counts. If it's anything traumatic, then it doesn't count. Concussions included.
Okay, so you're saying
what about
no? Let's
What about a Sancho type situation?
Sancho, like a wilderness adventure.
Yeah,
into the wild.
Disillusioned.
No. So you're saying that he's gonna start 66% of the available games.
Yeah.
So
look at you, Toogie Howser.
7% of our audience got that joke.
And I'm here for them.
Yeah. So
I think it's just us, by the way. I think we're the 7%.
That's fine.
No. It's good. It's good fun though. So yeah, let's do 66% or
just
less.
do the sheer number. 12 starts or less.
Okay. That's it.
All right, 12. All right.
Okay.
Interestingly, to add to that, so I saw a tweet earlier today from Football Daily that said Chelsea are allowed to register a maximum of 3 new eligible players for the knockout stages of the Champions League. Unfortunately, they have to pick 3 of Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk, Felix, Badiashile, Fofana, and Madueke.
The only, Madueke and Fofana done. They're out. I think it's only a matter of Badiashile or the other 3. That'll be tricky.
It's interesting, right? Yeah.
And isn't Jorginho out? Doesn't give them another one?
I don't know if that opens up a spot for them or not. This was posted 5 hours ago, so I don't know that.
It's a transfer issue. It's not related to like your overall squad.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
only January transfers. You only get 3.
It's crazy. That's cool. All right. Are we good on the quote unquote very good, the best of the best category? Yep. All right. Okay. We're gonna move on to the next category, which is the sneaky good. These are the ones, fantasy managers, maybe you can get yourself a little deal on. Maybe you can bring them in on the cheap. Maybe you can even slide them in for 0 fab, or you don't even have to waste a waiver priority spot on them. Maybe they've already been added and dropped already. There's a probability that somebody like a Sarabia might have been at this point. So let's go over the sneaky good players, and you guys can let me know if we need to add any, if we need to take any away, and we can talk about the ones that are here. So we have Dango Unchained himself, Dango Ouattara. We have Tete, the new signing for Leicester, not to be confused with the fullback. We have Harry Souttar. What?
Kenny.
What?
Kenneth Tete.
Oh, Kenneth, yes, absolutely, Kenneth. One Kenneth. Harry Souttar, also for Leicester. Sarabia, the aforementioned, and Benoit Badiashile, the also aforementioned, who is averaging currently 16 points a game, which I know is not sustainable, but I just think it's funny. Ryan, you want to kick this off?
Yeah, some of these have the possibility of going up to the top upper echelon category that we just went through.
Okay, start with those. Who would you potentially who's flirting with the upper echelon?
Man, I think Ouattara and Suter are those two in here, and dare I say Sulemana should be in this category.
Ooh, okay.
And I think all 3 of them just based solely on the possibility of them being good ghost point accumulators. Ouattara worries me because their schedule from here on out for the next several game weeks is pretty brutal.
It's a nightmare.
And so I could see trading out on a high right now if someone's keen. 16.5 points per start, albeit 1 start, still looks pretty good.
Sure.
But yeah, he looked good, fun to watch. Got an assist, but also got I think 10 ghosties to get to 16.5. So he's good. Suter, I mean, could be the next Nat Phillips.
Don't play with my heart like that.
I know. in terms of aerials, that's just speculation. The fact that he's 6'6" in a freaking brick shit house.
That's what you want.
Gotta assume his aerial game is on point. And then Sulemana, his ghost points in the French league were off the charts, and apparently he's like the best dribbler in all of Europe over the past year. Is a little rusty because he didn't get much game time at the end there in France. Plus, Saint-Étienne somehow is now very crowded. But you got to think, given the money and the potential, that he should get a fair amount of minutes. So I'm excited about him as well.
That's the thing, and I think that's why we didn't have him in this group. But let's talk about that Saints crowded attack real quick. Quote, I put that in air quotes or inverted commas. So, who are we talking about here? Adam Armstrong?
No, I mean on the wings you have Adozie, Mara, Orsic, Adam Armstrong. I mean those are the main ones. That's a lot. And then if they go to a 2-striker system with the new lad up top with Che Adams, then that's also crowding out. So
yeah, then you're
just a lot. Yeah. I assume that Sulemana will nail down one of those spots. The other, Mara and Adozie are very young, and so I don't think they're going to rely on them to be nailed on, barring injury. So I like Sulemana's odds of nailing down one of those spots. And yeah, if Jones gets him cooking, then yeah, sky's the limit.
Okay. Interesting. I like it. Any guys you already mentioned, any guys you think that are in this category that maybe don't belong there? Or
I'm pretty skeptical of Tete, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nothing about his numbers really jump out unless they're trash. Yeah, I mean he's worth a punt, but I'm skeptical about him. Sarabia, yeah, he's in a crowded attack as well. Jury's still out. I'm not as bullish as you think I would be on him.
We've also been bitten several times, and now we're thrice shy with Wolves, because you and I both loved Geddes.
Yeah, exactly. Who turned down a loan to Barcelona, by the way.
Right. Because
he wanted to play more. And scored within 5 seconds of his first cameo. But anywho, Sarabia, yeah, I'm not that high on him, but he could pan out. But I think Neto, if he gets healthy, claims one of those wing spots along with God, my mind is blanking. Potence.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, that'll be that. Sarabia will probably get us the odd start and cameo. So I don't know if he potentially is in this category.
Interesting. Okay.
That issue I like.
Okay. Toddy, what do you think about this? Sneaky good.
Like, okay. So I want to go a different way. I really like Tete, and although Farmers League and everything, considering the French league, but Lyon are actually decent, and he has points per 90 of 13.9 with 8 goals, 7 assists, which dings his ghost points to 7.8, which is decent enough. Like it's not stellar, but it's decent.
Of course, just real quick. So for that stat, you are using DraftLad's spreadsheet that converts basically points in the top 5 leagues around Europe into what they would score were they scored based on kind of like Fantrax metrics, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to give you a feel of what 7.8 Ghosts feels like this season, that's Kulusevski, Martinelli, Perisic, Foden type numbers. Indeed.
Okay. No, you're speaking my language now. Yeah.
Because when we see like numbers on a page with a lot of other numbers next to them, it does kind of distance ourselves, and I felt that with trying to rank players, like I have a very good feel for players I roster, and even though like that feel might be going against numbers, because like I know someone like, I don't know, Bernardo Silva might have been doing okay at the beginning of the season, even for ghost points, but as someone who rosters him and is incessantly refreshing the Fantrax site to see how many points they're getting, I know that most of the time they're getting 0 or 2 or 3 points, and at the end of the game they get a few garbage time points, like they whip in a cross and someone heads it on goal, and it's a cross and a key pass and whatever. So you you have a better feel for the value of players if they're on your team, and the way to replicate that is to compare players to players you might have on your roster, and this is for us three as well and our listeners as well. So as for Tete, obviously there will be some drop off from those numbers from Lyon, but I'm a firm believer that two things that are about to happen with Leicester are gonna cause an uptick in their production. One is that Vardy and his starts will be forgotten.
Okay.
Like, I doubt that at this point Rodgers will force Vardy into the starting lineup. So that means that the only and it's clear that he doesn't trust Iheanacho, so it's gonna be Daka all the way until something huge happens, like an injury or he doesn't score for the next 7 games or something like that. That's the consistency that players around a number 9 type need, I think. And the other thing is obviously James Maddison coming back.
Yeah.
And I think those two things will elevate Leicester's attack, and it will get them points. With Ayose and Albrighton both leaving, the clamour for Leicester to get wingers in was only briefly fed by Tete's arrival, and 2 days later everyone was sold. I think they were confident of getting Harrison. I read on The Athletic that he actually had a medical at Leicester or something like that, and somehow that deal didn't work out. So I think they're still very short on wingers. So that bodes well for starts for Tete. I think it's gonna be Tete and Barnes flanking Daka up front, and I just think that I think he's in a good spot in the sneaky good, so I don't think he'll do enough to be in the very good. Okay. But I'm not sure, like on pure overall score, I'm not sure that there will be a huge difference between Tete and Mudryk.
Wow.
What does he do well? I'm struggling to figure out like how he's going to get his points. He's not going to score many attacking returns. What would you say you do here?
You literally just reminded me of that. That's hilarious. What would you say you do here at Initech?
Bob?
I'm a people. I work with the goddamn customer.
Take the software. I gotta ask, why can't they just take it directly to the customers?
Classic. Anyway,
question remains.
Anyway, this is a very pop culture meta heavy episode.
Niche.
Okay, so Leicester actually scored more goals than anyone in the bottom half of the league, and that includes Chelsea as well. So
your boy Barnes is floundering.
They've scored 28 goals in 20 games, which is like they're 14th. So like I wasn't expecting them, the number that I'm just checking now, to have been 60 or something like that. But 28 goals is like is 4 less than Fulham or Brentford, who are pushing for 6. It's 4 less than Man United. It's 5 less than Newcastle. So it's not like they're struggling to score. So I do think that him not getting attacking returns is a bit presumptuous. I think he will get attacking returns. Obviously, I'm not expecting him to replicate his 8 goals, 7 assists, rest of the season. But a 5.55 is well within his range, I think. And that would get him to around 10, between 10 and 11 points per game, points per 90.
Dude, you're reaching. I don't see it. Wager?
Against
another one? Another one.
I mean, over under on that 10 to 11 points per start figure you just threw out of the ether.
I'll do.
That was optimistic, though, right? I mean, I'm just trying to save you here.
Yeah. No, don't let him.
I mean, at some point, Ryan has to win one of our wagers.
Oh shit,
dude! Firmino's been on 11 starts since fucking September.
Yeah, and
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna make it.
All it takes is one more 50-point game.
He needs 4 more starts in this
in the
year of
19 games that
that's happening.
Have, like
no,
yeah, I'm confident.
More fantasy points, Jesus or Foden. Jesus gave Foden a 6-month layoff, and I think he still has more. Wolves will finish 13th or higher. Yeah, those big ones.
Yeah.
I'm okay doing Tete 10 points per 90.
Okay.
Are you adding all these, Ryan?
Yeah.
All right. Jesus does currently have Foden by, let's see.
God, that's so funny.
Foden's at 190. Jesus is at 205. So there you are. Still 15 points.
He was back on grass today too.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got a lot of math going on in this.
Math and pop culture.
Yeah, it's wild.
As we've spent too much on Tete.
Yes.
I would love 100%.
To see. People are like, who the hell is this?
Yeah. I'd love to see the Aussie man, Harry, make it good, but as much as I kind of believe in the Leicester offense, I kind of don't believe in the Leicester defense. So that's more hopeful in the sneaky good. But the others I agree with. I think Ouattara will. For me, the sneaky good is like these players will not hit free agency from the point they're picked up until the end of the season or a season-ending injury.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it.
And everyone...
That's tricky, though, because if they don't immediately perform, with these randos that come in January, if you don't invest that much money in them, if they don't... Like, if Ouattara dropped like a 2 in his debut, he'd be back on the wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think Ouattara...
They have to hit the ground running.
Ouattara is I think at the bottom end of this, the rest in this sneaky good pile, I would say, and Ouattara and Sutar, and both probably because of their teams rather than because of their individual talents or ability to get Fantrax points. But yeah, I'm okay thinking or hoping that these guys will do enough even in their poor runs to be worth rostering. Sutar is for me on the edge of he'll be dropped in the upcoming schedule because that is brutal.
Okay. And no one mentioned Body Ashiel, fantasy real, fantasy fake. What do we make of his 16 points per game?
It's like you already said that's not sustainable, but I think if he stays in the team, which he should, because he's been doing well, then why not? He's going to be decent. Like when Reece James and Fofana and Chilwell and Conte, whoever is injured still, is coming back, then it should elevate the whole of Chelsea. And he's at this point, Badiashile is a veteran at Chelsea.
Good point.
Like
yeah, you're right.
He's the one showing all the others where the toilets are.
This is your locker. This is the woman who works in the cafeteria. Her name's Joan. Absolutely. And not honestly, if he's still out there, you might as well grab him. Fulham, West Ham, Southampton, Tottenham, Leeds, Leicester, Everton, Villa, Wolves, Brighton is their remaining schedule for the year. So, the upside's there is all I'm saying. Okay, let's move along. Unless we want to add anything else about Tete. Just kidding. Please don't. God. All right. Now we go from the very good to the sneaky good to the decent. And the decent is essentially, we're talking about players who maybe are streamers. These are guys who might put up a decent floor of points, meaning kind of fantasy managers or anyone who's maybe a little bit newer. You can count on them for a decent kind of handful of points a week, but it's not going to be anything that is going to win you a game week. But these are the guys who just, maybe they create a nice backbone of your team, but also you wouldn't necessarily feel too bad about dropping them. So the ones we have in this category, and I don't necessarily agree with all these, but we'll see what you guys think. We have Weghorst, Enzo Fernandez, Marcel Sabitzer, Alex Moreno, Weston McKennie, Christensen from Leicester, and Vober from Leeds. Ryan, what do you think about these quote-unquote decent players?
Alex Moreno probably stands out the most. He's going to be nailed on because Emery hates Digne for some reason. Maybe it's his stomach issues. So I think he's shown some decent ghosting, but yeah, as you guys mentioned in the doc, the Villa defense leaves a lot lacking. So he might be one of those guys you'd like to roster, but only throw out in decent matchups.
Yeah, he's borderline, I think.
Yeah.
He's borderline between sneaky good and decent.
Oh, yeah. I like Alex Moreno.
Yeah, the other guys, none of them really do it for me.
People are going to be up in arms about Fernandez. Do you want to just explain our rationale behind putting him in the decent?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, even if he's 120 mil, I mean, he's still a quasi CDM until proven otherwise, unless Potter puts him more advanced and he starts, getting heavily involved in the attacks. I remember I started him a couple times in the World Cup fantasy game, and yeah, when he didn't score a goal or get an assist, he was pretty mediocre. So yeah, I think he'll be like near one of those premium CDMs, but just doesn't ghost enough to be a decent asset. Thankfully, a lot of folks will bid on him in your league and allow you to get some of these more sneaky good players in the door. But yeah, he doesn't do it for me. Sabitzer, if he was able to nail down a starting role, he could be one of the better ones of this group. But yeah, McKinney's not going to score well. Christensen, meh. Vober, I haven't seen it yet. So same with Weghorst. My God, how many times can we get tricked by this fraud?
Yeah, I mean, plus then Martial is healthy and scored today, so they're both going to be involved, and I think your best case scenario is in like this double game week, start them both, but in a normal game week, you're looking at maybe 45 minutes for each of them, unfortunately, which is a nightmare.
Yep, indeed.
Yep.
Toddy.
Out of these, I want nothing to do with Enzo, just like Ryan, and nothing to do with Weston McKinney. I do hope he like lucks into a goal or something like that, and then his value will shoot up. Fun fact, like for those of the listeners who play on Football Manager, Marcel Sabitzer is one of those guys who has all of the midfield positions as green, as he can play in all of the midfield positions. So I think he played a lot at wing back for Red Bull Leipzig. He hasn't had much of an impact at Bayern since he left Leipzig, but before that, like his 1920 season, which can be found, the data can be found on our website under the European Leagues data. His 1920 season, he started 30 games with points per 90 of 13.5, with ghost points per 90 of 9.2, which is epically good. 9.2.
Sure.
So yeah, I agree again with Ryan that if he can get a spot nailed down, and it's not the sort of defensive midfield spot, but anything a bit higher than that, then he should be a good stream or a decent sort of prop your midfield up kind of player.
Well, Eriksen's out until April.
Yeah. And
nick some set pieces, that'd be good too. Although you have Shaw and Bruno to contend with.
I doubt that he can get close to set pieces, but he's one of those guys who can just pick up the ball and ping it across to the wingers. So he'll be there or thereabouts with the attacks. So he'll nick a few. He has a mean shot on him as well. So yeah, I like him. I don't think he'll crack sneaky good, but he'll be decent.
There you go. Yeah. Aptly named.
Yeah, and as for minutes, I'm a bit skeptical as well on Weghorst, but I think we'll see a much better player for fantasy and for real life.
Sure.
Than we saw at Burnley. I think Burnley was just a misplaced idea there. I think he'll be the one who can maybe push for the sneaky good out of these. I have high hopes for Wober as well. He did take a set piece in his game that he already had for Leeds. So you never know with Leeds. They had a few ins as well. So who knows?
Yeah, Leeds. That's something we should mention. I mean, Leeds is getting crowded. Like it's anyone's guess at this point.
Yeah, and they did bring in another. I think what's it called, Monteiro, another guy who is primarily a centre back but can play left back as well, and they have Struijk as well, who is just that. So they now have 3 players who can do the same thing. But Woberg has actually came on and played as a DM in his first game for Leeds. So just keep an eye out. Although a cautionary tale for a Leeds left back playing DM is Struijk's first appearance. If you remember, under Bielsa, we were all getting mighty excited that he started at DM, and then he got subbed after yellow after 20 minutes or something like that.
Yes. Now I do remember that.
So yeah, temper expectations. But out of these guys, I have to agree with Ryan. It's Moreno, Sabitzer, and for me it's Wober and Weghorst as well, who can sort of eye the higher tier, but ultimately probably not make it there.
Okay. All right. Anything else for the decent before we, not to be confused with the Descent, which was actually a underrated movie,
which is happening in the next tier.
This is true. But yeah, good movie. Another pop culture reference, but solid. Check it out. Anyway,
is that the one when they go into a cave and there are like these creatures that kill them?
Yeah, it's like the group of like 4 or like 5 friends, and they're all women, and they go into this cave, and it's basically like I don't know, kind of like girl power. They're like awesome. It's really good.
I may have only seen the porn version.
What's the pun?
I have so many questions. I want to believe that doesn't exist, but I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Oh, classic. All right. So moving right along. Next category. Brian, we'll let you think of a clever name for what that movie would be called while we introduce the next category.
I've been racking my brain. I can't.
So this one's called The Dart Throws. So fantasy potential is there. Playtime, though, or actual output in the Prem, as opposed to the leagues that they may or may not be coming from, that is the question mark here. So this is quite the list. And we do not need to talk about all of these players by name necessarily. Let's focus on the ones that we definitely think might be a shout for potentially season-long value. So, Ryan, this is where we originally had your boy Suleiman, but
is that Kabaldeen Suleimani?
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Wait, do we have another Crescencio on our hands here?
I'm calling him Suleiman the Magnificent already, so
Kamaldeen.
No pressure.
Kamal. Kamaldeen. Yes. That's incredible. Oh, another amazing. What a day. What a day, guys.
The only like sad thing is that he didn't go to West Ham, so that we could see Moyes try to remember Kamaldeen.
He would just get a nickname like they all do.
Is hard enough for.
He would just call him Cam.
Remember when we found out that Crescencio is just called Chris?
No, he's called Cree.
Oh, Cree. That's right, Cree. Thank you. Yes, Cree, which is even worse, honestly.
I didn't know that. How could you have a name like that and not?
Cree is
go through his whole catalog,
like 90s, what's it called? DOC knockoff on CW TV show.
That is one deep weird
like guy who is in like 2 episodes, and he just says, "My name is Cree."
Character arc.
I like this. Yeah, so you've created a character named Cree who is a bad boy on an OC like show.
Yeah, it could be One Tree Hill. It could be One Tree Hill.
All right.
Maybe
all right.
California Dreams.
All right, moving on. We got through one name. That's fine. We'll get there. Okay. Onuachu as well. Semenyo in this one. Madueke Danjuma, which is an interesting one to just at least mention. Anthony Gordon. I'm sure people were wondering when we were going to mention that name. Hamed Traore. Scarpa, the much loved skater boy. Scarpa. Danny Ings. Jorginho Ruter. Bertrand Traore. James Bree. Chris Wood. Kevin Schad. So Ryan anywhere you want to kick it off with this list?
Man, this is a sorry list.
What stands out as not being sorry?
I don't like Madueke, but if he was able to somehow fight through the 70 other people in his position on Chelsea right now, he has decent upside. But I didn't pick him up because I don't think he's going to get enough playing time given the spending spree they just went on. So
maybe I agree, but maybe in the short term,
there's
no right wing. There's no right wing option. Like I doubt Ziyech gets. He's going to be
tossing a fit for at least
Ziyech. He should have been our loser for the transfer window. My God,
yeah, that's true. Poor bastard.
Poor guy. I've read a Chelsea fans account of the situation. Poor guy had to pay for his own tickets to go to Paris and his own.
Oh, that Eurostar train ride.
I bet he called his own Uber as well.
Man, he must be in the poorhouse after that.
He probably had to sit in the bar while they were doing the paperwork and stuff too. Tasting menus.
I've also read that due to it being at the end of the month, Chelsea couldn't send the right paperwork because there was a Windows update coming on the computer they were using. and it kicked in
Y2K glitch.
kicked in at the time when they needed to send it, and it was updated.
God, I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
Hour.
Please be true.
Oh Lord. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. So you're saying yes, there is a spot on the right wing. Sterling still injured. Ziyech doing a Sancho type of thing at this point.
Maybe he stay in Paris.
I was gonna say maybe he's just doing a Moulin Rouge thing. Yeah.
Eat, pray, love.
Eat, pray, love.
Finding himself.
Wow. I love this. We're dipping into all kinds of pop culture here. We have female literature references. This is really well-rounded today, boys.
Yeah. Man, I keep looking at this list and nothing.
Yeah, Toddy, any other ones on this list? You mentioned Madueke in the short term. Do you have anything else on that, or that was the extent of it?
That was the extent of it.
Okay.
Like if Hamed Traore wasn't going to Bournemouth, then I'd be excited because he had some good he had some good numbers to carry over. But he is going to Bournemouth, so yep. I'm not that excited. Scarpa, we've been talking about him a lot, but again, the team that he's on is really getting him to this descent time.
He's just not doing it. He's not doing it.
He's just not doing it.
He's had chances.
Yeah, he's just not doing it.
We'll see this weekend.
The one that I kind of like is Jorginho Rutter. He's had a decent-ish season. 11.5 goals, 7.6 goals, 11.5 points per 90, which for a forward who's actually a forward is decent. 10 goals already in the Bundesliga. Club record signing.
I just don't know if he gets enough time.
Yeah, he played in the cup match with his iconic hair. He's awesome. But yeah, we already mentioned Leeds' backfield. I mean, this is going to be the same. Leeds' attack is also crowded as hell. And I just wonder... Yeah.
He's in the 99th percent for dribbles.
Damn.
Among forwards.
I don't hate that.
according to FB and I see rumors of a long-term Rodrigo injury.
No, really? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's unconfirmed. I don't have my second source yet.
Oh Christ!
But we'll confirm when there's a second source. But the second source will be all of Twitter. So,
oh Lord. In the Genie League, just very quickly, I'm sorry, but in the Genie League, I have Van Dijk, Eriksson, Sterling, Rodrigo. So this is all fun, just fun and games.
Yeah. In the
sounds like a blast.
In the High Rollers League, where Benji and Ryan and myself play, Benji and my team we had Joao Cancelo, Matt Doherty, Conor Gallagher, Hakim Ziyech. That is we also have Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden as well, but at least those players are still in the league.
Right.
Dude, two of my top 4 picks have been out the entire season, so
yeah,
it's going around.
I mean, back to Reuter. It should tell you something that he's rostered in every league that I'm in, but only 14% rostered overall. So, listeners can absolutely go and grab him immediately.
I had him at first, but I was just put off by the fact that I didn't think he was going to get any starts, and he was just one for the future. But if Rodrigo being injured changes that a bit, although you would still think that Bamford would be next up, but when he inevitably gets injured, then then Reuter's right there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I just have a feeling that club record signing, it just makes sense that he'll get a good run. It's just a feeling, so don't quote me on that. I'm not wagering anything on Reuter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have him in 2 leagues.
Yeah, I was just trying to see. He came off at 76. He actually started with Bamford up top. It looks like they kind of played like a 4-4-2 for this one. And according to FOTMob, had a 7.1 rating. So I don't know. I don't have his stats on hand, but I can look for them if you want. But
I don't think there's need.
Interesting to say the least. He took 5 shots in that time.
Jesus.
Created one chance, and he had a 0.44 XG. I know you told me they weren't necessary, Toddy, but I'm giving them anyway.
Yeah, go for it.
He had
it's exciting.
He had 2 big chances missed. 5 passes into the final third. Anyway, I can stop now. But
ooh,
you get it.
5 passes.
5 whole passes.
What about between midfield and the final third?
I don't have that information. I can keep digging.
Please.
Speaking of whole passes, my all-time favorite GIF. You know the film, the whole pass.
Yes.
I wish I didn't, but yeah.
my all-time favorite GIF is when the woman is sitting on the edge of the bathtub and she sneezes. Do you know that GIF?
No.
Okay.
It's one of the worst movies of all time.
Just check it out.
All right,
it was good.
Yeah. We'll have to look for that GIF. Listeners, pull over your car right now and pull it up. It's very, very valuable.
Put on the movie. More like
super valuable input for an audio medium here, Toddy.
Yeah. I mean, it's 1:00 in the morning. So.
Hey, yeah, that's true. You deserve it. You're a trooper every week. Okay, anything else?
I deserve to speak anything that I like. Man.
Whatever you want to say. Yeah, as long as it's
as long as I'm at least saying it. I'm not just showing you the GIF.
Right.
That would be worse for an audio medium.
Guys, check this out. All right. Any other ones in this dart throw category here for you?
No, I thought we were gonna go to the next one. Or
let's do it. Okay.
I scrolled down.
The next category is, well, people, hold on really quickly. People are going to wonder about Anthony Gordon. Why is he in the dart throws? Why is he not higher?
Because not even, for me, it just comes down to not even Alan Saint-Maximin could get into that Newcastle team right now. And although there could be shifts around, I think Gordon's coming in as a squad player. There's no two ways about it. I don't think he's going to feature enough to warrant anything more than the descent.
Okay. I might add one here. We currently have Danilo in the don't bother category.
I wonder why that is, because I think of him as like the chic de core of this window, like the premium CDM that can bag you 10 or 11 ghosts on his day with a floor of 7-ish.
That's kind of where I was at too. What do we think? Do we
put
him into the dart throws?
Yeah, I think he gets.
Or do
promoted.
we put him into the decent? We haven't seen enough.
We have seen one half of a game, and he did have 5.5 in 45 minutes, which is great. But yeah, I'm not getting jazzed up about it.
Once they get a DGW, I'm going to pounce.
Yeah. Plus, he might have been dropped by then. But if he's available, I mean, worth a speculative ad. Okay. Next category, the letdowns. This is actually a pretty short one, unless you want to add any more to it. But players who were overhyped, their transfers were headline grabbing, but they're not necessarily going to deliver for fantasy managers. I mean, arguably, we should probably put Gordon in here as well. But we have Leandro Trossard in here currently, and Mateus Cunha, unfortunately. So, Ryan, tell us. You have a connection to both of these players now. What say you?
Yeah, Trossard, he's going to be a frustrating one because he'll have some pretty impactful substitution appearances. But yeah, he's barring a Martinelli injury. I don't think he's going to be getting any starts.
Is he Tsimikas in midfield?
Yeah, that's not a bad comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe less. I mean, Arteta doesn't really rotate. I think Trossard will probably be playing a lot of Europa League games until if they get a little bit further. So yeah, I don't see him starting anytime soon. Cunha, I mean, he's dead to me forever because of Toddy will know it better than I even. That goose egg against West Ham at home.
Yep.
A few fateful weeks ago. But he could still quasi come good. But that Wolves 9 position is poisoned.
It looks to be insanely goal dependent.
Yeah, I think it forever.
Couple that with them not scoring goals. it's not
precisely.
It's not a good combination.
Yeah, not as good as Che, is it?
Hey, you only have to go back like 2 weeks to see Che absolutely deliver.
That's why I'm referring to it. And
but it was the decision to.
Oh, that's right. I remember this now.
It was
you benched Che that week. That's
decision to start double Southampton forwards or go with the first start for Cunha.
I mean, who could blame you, honestly, at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think the maths and the common decision making techniques were all behind us. It's just the fantasy gods who were against us.
It is fair. All right. Anything to add on these letdowns, Toddy?
They're not letting me down anymore because I
dropped them all.
I dropped them all, and I'm not touching Cunha with a 10-foot pole.
I would wager maybe that we should add Danny Ings to this category?
I think Danny Ings will be fine.
You think he will once he's fit? But is he going to be fit? I mean, like, they were talking it was going to be a long-term injury, and now suddenly he's got an injection or something where it's going to speed up his recovery. I mean, what, for Danny Ings, speeding up his recovery is like 6 months instead of 8 months?
I mean, he can only come good if he plays. So
yeah.
So if he's healthy, he'll be decent.
Okay. All right. Well, the final two categories we don't need to spend very long on, which is good because Toddy needs to get off to Dreamland. But this one is the don't bother. Not fantasy relevant, don't waste your time or the roster spot. Here we go. Lokonga. We had Danilo in here. I think we already made the argument for him to move him out of here. So I'm gonna skip that one. So don't hear that I said that. Jorginho. Felipe for Nottingham Forest. Ahamada. Who is this person? I don't even know this person. Anyway, Lukic for Fulham. Jonjo Shelvey. Voldemort for Forest. Cedric Suarez for Fulham, which is an interesting one, maybe. This center back for Bournemouth, I don't know who that is, but his name starts with a Z. Zabarnyi. Mateus Vinha. Carlos Alcaraz. Joao Gomez for Wolves, the new Brazilian signing that Ryan, you mentioned earlier. Joan Duran, Jacob Kiwor, and Mario Lemina. And then finally, one Orsic from Southampton, which maybe that's an interesting one. I don't know.
People were pretty hyped about him.
Yeah.
I think he might be let down.
So the don't bother.
Category.
This isn't... there's only a couple names here that I maybe would take issue with, but even as such... I don't know that I'm brave enough to roster them. So Ryan, what do you think about this list? Any that you disagree with?
No. Yeah, I wouldn't touch any of these guys.
Okay. Toddy?
I think the more relevant question is, would you, like, the two instances you would look at them is either would you stream them in a pinch or would you look for them for a double game week?
Okay.
And no.
Who here would you stream in a pinch?
I have a soft spot for Mario Lemina because I've streamed him in the past. I'm curious to see what he does with Wolves.
Yeah.
Joao Gomez, similar situation.
CDM though, right? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. CDM for Wolves?
But he used to ghost a decent amount.
Okay.
Lemina, that is.
Go ahead, Toddy.
If he's playing against Bournemouth or something like that, and Cedric is starting for Fulham, then I'd stream him.
That's the exact one I was going to mention. Yep.
And if I'm due to suspension or injury, if I know that Jorginho is starting a double for Arsenal, then I'd play him as well.
In a double game week, maybe I would, but yeah.
In a double, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you think, Ryan, he takes over penalties from Saka?
I don't think so. I doubt that that Arteta would rock the boat there. Unless Saka was not on the pitch and he was, then I could see it.
Okay.
Nice. All right, our final category. This is care of Draft Lad, who added this to our show document, and I love it. Pour one out for the homies. R.I.P. to the fallen comrades. Vikings salute to Matt Doherty, Mark Albrighton.
Can you like fade in some bagpipe music?
I'll see what I can do. Mateus Klich. Gedej. Wow, that's just an arrow to the heart right there.
Yep.
Ioze Perez. Jed Spence, in parentheses, LOL.
We hardly knew you.
Just draft, lad. That is just cold, man. Sergi Canos, Gilbert, Marvelous Nakamba, Brian Hill, and Morgan Sanson.
Villa did Gilbert dirty.
Real
I must
dirty.
say. That was uncalled for. I mean, something must have happened behind the scenes, but like, Jesus.
Yeah. But also Jed
brutal.
Spence, man. Imagine wasting 6 months of your career on this BS. Like, what? Man.
I mean, his fault for.
I
going
mean,
to Spurs.
at some point when your new manager takes the time and energy to mention in your unveiling video that you are a company signing as opposed to signing sanctioned by him.
Oh, Lord.
I think the signs are there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, brutal. All right, boys. Well, that does it for the transfer window. Let's throw out just a couple of streamers real quick, and then we're going to put a bow on it. And as mentioned previously, get Toddy off to bed and get around, I don't know, making some dinner. Ryan, what do you got planned?
Yeah, I've been in meetings all day, so yeah, gonna take a beat and lay down, and then figure out dinner.
There we go. I love it. All right, Game Week 22 streamers. Ryan, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but Fred actually looks pretty attractive with Eriksson on crutches and the Man United double game week. It'll be interesting to see if Sabitzer gets any time immediately. But if Fred starts that first one, I think if you're in a pinch in the midfield, you got to take a punt on him potentially getting both, even with Sabitzer coming in.
Yeah,
you got to think that they would take some time to bed him in. So,
and
just because of the DGW and Eriksson, he looks decent.
Hasn't Fred scored in both of the legs against Nottingham Forest?
Did he score today?
I think he did.
Oh, well.
I saw that Martial scored. I didn't see if there was a second goal.
There was I know they won 2-0. I didn't see anything else on it.
Then it probably was Fred.
Yeah.
Fred.
My God. Interesting times.
Yeah.
Tyler Adams, similar vein. I picked him up because of the DGW and the fact that other than the last game, he actually started scoring like double-digit ghost points. So in the DGW, gotta like that upside. But he got a knock and wasn't even on the bench in the FA Cup game last weekend. But I'm hoping that he's fine and he'll be able to do the DGW. So if he doesn't, then he's an easy drop. We talked a little bit about Scarpa. I think this is his opportunity. Decent matchup. No MGW. He should get a decent amount of sets. If you need a midfield streamer, he might be your man. This is also, I think, a good time to sneakily get in some DGWs for game week 23, Arsenal and City. So I'm thinking about Partey and Rico Lewis in that vein, with Cancelo being shipped out. I think Rico has a decent chance of getting both in the DGW. So there's your lot.
There's no chance, but I'd love to see Sergio Gomez get some.
Yeah, he's intriguing now as well, given that Cancelo left. But with Cancelo, even in the doghouse, he still didn't get a sniff. So.
Yeah, he didn't get anywhere close. So I doubt he gets anything decent. But you never know with Pep.
That's an instant stream, though, right? I mean, if you see him
Instantly.
in there. Yeah.
He'll take sets as well.
Sure. Any other ones to add, Toddy, for streamers?
Obviously, I'd recommended Sinistera and Yonto in my articles at the end of last week for waivers, and also Wober from Leeds. All of these guys have doubles, so that's a no-brainer. And the one I want to mention, and that I mentioned during the pod as well, is Patson Daka, who I think he'll have a good run. in the starting 11, and they're playing Aston Villa, who are not the tightest ship at the back. So, yeah.
I would add maybe Mark Roca, just if you're hoping for 15 points between the two games.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this: Weston McKennie is going to come in for someone for the second game. I'm pretty sure. So whether that's Aronson or Roca or even Tyler Adams, who knows?
Yeah,
McKennie has played more further back at Juventus, so
that would scream Roca unless they do a midfield three with those trio.
Yeah. I my bet is on Roca as well, but before Juventus, he played further up the field, and I think, and you'll know better, that I think he plays in a more attacking role for the national team as well, doesn't he?
McKennie?
Yeah.
He is an 8. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. It will shake out with Leeds, I think. I think it's going to be a similar situation to Forest. Like in the next 5, there will be a lot of rotation, but then they'll settle on something.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, so with all those incoming transfers, it might actually be kind of dangerous to play some of those, more or less nailed on Leeds assets, because they could get 55, they could get 45 even, and then get subbed during this double game week.
Yeah, it's like at this point, I think with Leeds, it's for anyone who has direct competition with the new boys coming in. I think you are happy if they get more than 90 in the 2.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that Forest is the first one, so obviously you're not starting anyone who is not starting against Forest, and you're probably starting anyone who is starting against Forest anyway. It's only the DMs that give you grief, like Adams, Roca, McKennie. You probably wouldn't start in a single game week, even against Nottingham Forest, right?
Yeah.
So those are the ones that need deciding. All the rest, you'll start the defenders, you'll start the attackers against Forest, and you won't start anyone who is not starting, because the second game is United anyway. So,
good call. Nice. All right, boys, let's close her down. Listeners, thank you so much. It's been a blast. We had a good time. Hopefully you did too. Hopefully, maybe you caught one of our pop culture references and were able to connect it to something. Otherwise, go back and watch some of these shit movies that we've watched over the course of our lives and probably regret doing so, and you will too. But at least then, you'll have a shared experience with us. Anyway, this has been the KPC. If you have any questions, or if you have any, trade offers or anything you want to kind of run past us or run past the community online, go ahead and send it in a tweet at us, and we would be happy to get that out to as many people as you possibly can. It's what it's all about. Let's get some eyes on these things and get some minds on working on these questions, quandaries, conundrums that you all have. Again, thanks for listening. This has been the KPC. We're out. Cheers.